Okay, this is video 2. My phone filled up with memory, so it stopped me pretty much at the point where I was going to stop anyways, which is great. So I don't have to do this all over again. So right now we have finished round 4 right here, and we're supposed to color change on the last stitch of row 4. Oops. So this is how you color change. So this is the last stitch. We've counted 12 all the way around just to make sure we're right, which you actually do. So you're going to rewind. I can't with this thing. Okay, rewind. You're going to put this just like normal, and you're going to do half the step, just that. When you bring it through, you're going to bring through the new color. Now your new color needs to have a bit of a tail, and I'll show you why. You're going to just pull that through there. So it's going to look kind of messy. Don't squeeze or pull anything too hard. You're going to lock it in on the first stitch of the next round, which, checking back, it looks like we are going to do 6 single crochets with this new color. So we're just going to insert our hook into that first stitch, and this is where things get weird, but you're going to take all 3, so the old color, the new color, and the new color tail. You're going to take all 3 and you're going to pull them forward, and then you're only going to take the new color and pull that through like that. So we have 12 of the soft yellow stitches, and then this is the color change. This is the first stitch of row 5, and we're going to do 5 more stitches. However, we color change on the last one again. So now there's 2 ways to continue. You could right here clip off the yellow and just go with your new color. So you could just do this and just continue. You would just cut those old ones off, and that's what you would do. However, I want this piece to be a little bit chunkier, plushier, and it just looks better when you use that 3-piece method, and it also helps shape the piece really well, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, alright, so we did the first stitch. Let's do the second one now the same way. So you're going to take all 3 here. Now it's best to have tension, try to make tension on the piece of yarn that you're always going to be pulling through. It makes it so much easier. Now I'm going to tell you a secret. My daughter uses her big toe to hold the piece of yarn. She does. I have a video. I'm going to upload it, I promise. So 2, I can't wait to see her comment after this. So bring the 3 to the front. So that's 3. I'm just using this acrylic thing I have to create the tension. Insert next V. Pull all pieces in front, but only take the new one back. 4. 5. 5. Now I know we're supposed to color change, but I'm just going to finish the stitch like normal and show you why this method here looks better and works better. And this, bye-bye. It's driving me nuts. Okay. So we have our 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you're looking here, you see all of those colors there that are like leaking through pretty much. On this side it actually doesn't look bad. Sometimes it'll look bad, especially if you use velvet yarn. But what you can do is you can kind of control that look by taking this, taking this color, and so you pull it. But it also, when you do that, it shapes it for you. So it makes it tighter for you. Now, when I am doing colors back and forth, I only choose the secondary color to do this method. I'm not going to keep doing it back and forth. So now this 6th stitch is supposed to be another color change back. So I'm going to go ahead and pull back again. Okay, insert here. Remember, pull everything to the front. And at this point, you want to go ahead and put back in just that first color you were using. And every time you do a color change, it's going to look messy like that. So now what I'm going to do, since we have completed that color change, I'm going to cut that. Now there's supposed to be 6 stitches. Now I'm gonna kind of lock this in so I can tie this properly. Now, just looking at this, it's kind of hard to tell where you go next. But remember, you don't go in that leg there. You're gonna go here. So you're just continuing with the yellow like normal. But I did that so that I can make sure that this is going to be tied properly. So just tug a little bit. Make sure it looks good on the outside before you tie it. When you tie it, make sure you're tying it so that the knot stays on the inside. Sometimes when you go to stuff this later on, the knots will push themselves out. So you just make sure your knot has enough room to be pushed back in if it sneaks out. Now I'm going to cut this short. Flip it back. And voila. So it looks good, don't it? Alright, so we completed that. The rest of this looks like we're just going to do another 6 for a total of 12 stitches. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Now we are supposed to color change on this last stitch again, but I'm going to stop for a minute and count. Now I need to stop throwing my things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, so now you're supposed to stuff the head, but I don't really know how to do that and then continue crocheting, because the stuffing will just get in my way, just like this was getting in my way. So we're just gonna go ahead and put the eyes in. Oh, I should have grabbed the eyes first. before I started this video, but I didn't, of course. So get your shape eyes. You can get these at like Hobby Lobby. There are all kinds of different sizes, and you can get like glittery, excuse my verbiage, but see, it's pretty. It's huge though, so we're just using these little ones. So it says insert eyes between row 3 and 4. So now we're just going to remember that our stitch marker is right here. Okay, so we have, this is, sorry, stitch marker here. I might have been out of camera. So our first row is here, 1, 2, 3, and then this here would be 4. Hold on, we're supposed to count here. I'm sorry. Row 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 here. So the last row is gonna look like a 1.5 always. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They want you to insert the eye in between 3 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the first stitch. So this is our stitch marker, marking the first stitch here, here, here. So we're gonna go down. Now, sometimes maybe you want to put I'm just gonna put them in first before I put those snappy things on the back, because once it's on, it's on. Like you're not getting it off unless you want to use pliers, and then you'll rip it. Okay, now you're supposed to scoot over. It says 5 stitches. Trying to find the same size. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well then, it does say 5. I guess it looks even. It's just, it looks like a frog or something. Okay, so you want to put these snappy things in. Like I said, make sure you're good with where your position is, because these are not easy. So you want to snap them until it's up underneath, that lip is up underneath that. Another one. Okay. Alright, so we're at 13 minutes. I will go ahead and do row 6. So here, remember, you're supposed to do a color change on that last, on the 6th stitch of the orange color we were doing. So, we're going to start here with row 6. I hope I didn't do that backwards. Yeah, no, I don't know why I wrote that on the bottom. Okay, so we're doing a stitch decrease times 2, changing it to orange though, right now. So we're gonna go back. I keep saying orange, but this is like a off, I don't know what color. Okay, so pull that through. Looks messy. But now we're just going to go ahead and insert into where the first stitch is supposed to be, all 3 pieces of yarn forward, and then pull that through. Now we can kind of lock our color change in. And put a pin in. Oop. Okay, now we're doing a decrease right now because we're narrowing in the neck is what we're doing. So get back over there. So to do a decrease stitch, you would take the next 2 stitches, oh, sorry. You would take the next 2 stitches here and you split them in half. Now, a good tip, especially if you're a beginner, is if you want to mark that next stitch here so that you know that's where the needle is going to go next, feel free. And I'll show you why in a second. So pull these over and pull through all of that. You just did your decrease, so you made 2 stitches from the previous round into 1 stitch. Now, let's pretend that green marker ain't there. What? Where does the next stitch go? So, it obviously goes here. So, it's easier to tell when you're only using 1 yarn instead of 3. But remember that this would cause an increase. And this here is that second V that's split. So it's only 1 piece of yarn. Now there's a V, you can see the V on the inside. But when you're on the side like this, that's only 1 piece of yarn. So that's the neck. That's the reason why that's a good, if you're new to this, good idea to do that. So it is supposed to be stitch, decrease, stitch, decrease. So we're gonna go ahead and do a regular stitch, back to front. And we can remove this. And then now we're doing the decrease again. So it does not go there. It goes the next 2 V's. And we don't have to mark it if you don't want to, because it's the next color. So you should be able to tell. Back to front. And pull through. Now we are supposed to do a color change on that second decrease that I just did. But I just wanted to go ahead and shape it first before we rewind. This is what happens to that yarn. This is what I was talking about. That just happened. It winds up kind of weird sometimes. So just watch that. Alright, so I'm looking on the inside here. Which okay, I think we're good. I'm just super OCD about this. Okay, so I think we're good. So let's rewind. Okay. Now go into the next stitch, which remember we said was this one. Yeah, no, we're supposed to pull this through first. Sorry. Okay, that's our color change. Now, the instructions for this here is just, it's the same, stitch, decrease twice. So now we're going into the new color. Sorry. And remember, I only use the one for the first color. I do that triple string thing for the secondary color. Now that I have that locked in, I'm gonna put this. Just I've made so many mistakes, and the thing is this is about overcoming mistakes, because this is a hobby, you're making something you like, and so this is all about overcoming the mistakes so that you still like it as a hobby. Okay, so it does look good. I'm just always checking it in and out before I do stuff like that now, just because I've done all kinds of crazy stuff. Big holes in random places and stuff like that. Okay, so that was our first stitch. Next we're doing a decrease, and if you want you can mark that next stitch. Now we're using one string, so it's easier to see. But going there would be kind of like an increase into a decrease stitch. It's kind of weird. But here, you see, looking from the side, it's only one piece of yarn. And then the last stitch. And let's see. It says we are supposed to have 8. So let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love it when things just work out like that. Okay, I will start on row 7 next video.